Hi, my name is Ash, and I'm a medical doctor. Today, I'll be giving you an introduction into the OET English exam. Also, I'll take you through the writing subtest and the perfect layout you can use to help you ace this part of the exam. So in this presentation, I'll take you through what the OET is and why you, a healthcare professional, might need the OET. And then I'll tell you why a lot of doctors and nursing officers prefer the OET over a generalized English examination like the IELTS. I'll then tell you what a passing grade is usually in the OET test, and then at the end, I'll take you through the writing subtest. I'll tell you what it is, how it's assessed, and why organization and layout is probably the most important aspect in the writing subtest. So what is the OET, or the Occupational English Test? The OET is an English proficiency examination just like the IELTS or TOEFL. It was developed in Australia to be exclusively used by healthcare workers, including doctors, nurses, and about 10 other healthcare professions. There's 4 subtests within the exam. That's reading, writing, listening, and speaking. And later on in this presentation, I'll be giving an introduction into the writing subtest. But unlike IELTS, the OET also tries to replicate the critical tasks of the healthcare workplace setting within the exam itself. So why might you, a healthcare professional, need the OET? Well, there's 2 main reasons why, and the first reason is specific to healthcare professions, and that's for the purposes of professional registration when you migrate overseas. So in countries such as Australia, UK, USA, New Zealand, and Ireland, the OET is an accepted English proficiency exam for the registration of doctors and nurses. Be mindful, in countries such as Singapore and Qatar, only the paper version of the exam is accepted. The second reason is common for anyone who wants to migrate overseas to a country where English is the primary language, and that's for the purposes of visa application. So why is it a lot of doctors and nursing officers choose to do the OET compared to a generalized English exam like the IELTS? And it actually mainly comes down to preparation. The amount of time and effort that one needs to spend on studying for the OET is just a lot less compared to an exam like the IELTS. And there's 2 main reasons why this is. The area of study in OET is just a lot smaller compared to a generalized English exam. And secondly, the amount of effort you need is a lot less too, because you're studying English that you should already be familiar with from your work environment. There's also the added benefit when you study for the OET, you're actually helping yourself adjust your new work environment after you migrate. So, less time spent on studying and reduced effort on study, plus learning what's most important for your profession, really means there's an increased motivation for you to learn. And in the end, this means better performance on exam day. A lot of people who have taken both exams also agree achieving a passing grade is a lot harder in the IELTS compared to the OET exam. So, what is then a passing grade in the OET? Usually, it's an overall B grade in each subtest, but this may vary according to your employers, professional bodies, and your visa application requirements. So that's the introduction to the OET over. Now I'm going to take you through the writing subtest. The writing subtest is a 45-minute long writing assessment, and it's profession specific. So if you're a medical doctor, you'll be given a task to write as a doctor. If you're a nursing officer, a task to write as a nursing officer. Be given a writing stimulus which contains patient case notes with a task prompt. The task is one of 3 things: a referral, a transfer, or a discharge. And in some professions, you'll be given a 4th type of task, which is a letter of explanation. Regardless of what type of letter or what profession you're in, you'll be assessed on 6 different criteria. So you can see here the 6 assessment criteria that are used to mark the writing subtest. And they are purpose, content, conciseness and clarity, genre and style, organization and layout, and finally, language. You can see here I've also highlighted purpose in red. Yes, purpose is important because it gives the entire direction to your letter, but I've highlighted it because it's marked less out of than the other 5 criteria. It's actually given a mark out of 3. And the other 5 criteria actually marked out of 7. So in terms of marks, purpose is less important. So in this slide here, you can see the official document provided by the OET containing the assessment criteria for the writing subtest. I hope you can see here that purpose is marked out of 3 and the other 5 criteria marked out of 7. On an earlier slide, I told you that a passing grade is about a B average in each subtest. And what does that mean in the writing subtest? Well, for the purpose section, it means you get on average about 2 out of 3. And for the other 5 criteria, it means getting at least about 5 out of 7. So out of these 6 assessment criteria, which one do I think is the most important for you to learn first? I think it's organization and layout. And why is that? If you want to get an A grade response on your exam, you have to know about what the perfect layout is. And it consists of the start, the middle, and the end. Knowing the perfect layout will give you significant advantage in helping you plan and write the perfect letter every time. It really is the key to unlocking the perfect exam strategy. Furthermore, if you get this wrong, you're really signaling to the assessors that you have not mastered the basics of letter writing. All assessors are biased, therefore getting this wrong will really mean you'll be marked more harshly on the other 5 criteria. Now, the start and end in the perfect layout in all letters you write, so referrals, discharges, and transfers, will always have the same structure and format, and it's not negotiable. These are really easy marks you should not be dropping. In contrast, the middle, this will contain several paragraphs and will contain the bulk of your marks from the 6 criteria. This is the only section that has no fixed structure and requires significant amount of planning. I want to give you a warning about the types of letters that you most likely have been writing and seeing within the Sri Lankan setup. Personally, I don't think I've ever seen a letter that reaches a passing mark within the OET exam. Letters do not follow a given layout, so they're hugely varied and there's a lot of missing components. If you want to get a good mark on your OET writing exam, you need to forget about the types of letters you've been seeing and start writing letters according to the perfect layout given here. So here you can see what the perfect layout is. And yes, it is just simple as the start, the middle, and the end. Really knowing what the perfect layout is what's going to help you build an exam strategy to get a perfect A grade response every time. Something I want to point out is the start and the end, these things are non-negotiable. They follow a fixed structure and they don't change from letter to letter. This is in contrast to the middle, where the bulk of your marks will come from. This section does not have a fixed structure and requires some planning. So now I'm going to take you through the start of the perfect layout, and it consists of just the header and the subject. There's a 6-point checklist because the structure of this never changes from letter to letter, it's always the same. Firstly, name and title of the reader or addressee. Secondly, their job position. Thirdly, their location and address, followed by a space. Fourthly, the date. It's usually the day on which you're taking the exam, but this will be written within your case notes, so check carefully. Followed by another space. Fifthly, you start the letter by writing Dear, title, and surname of the reader. And then lastly, we have a subject line, which is subject -RE, and then followed by the title, then the patient's name, and then their age or date of birth. We're going to skip the middle for now and head straight to the end, or closing. This section's a must in all letters, and it only has 2 parts. Whilst this is a part of layout, if you do it correctly, it'll give you easy marks in genre and style if you use language that's both formal and polite. The first part is basically you requesting the reader to contact you in a polite and formal way. Here are 3 examples, but you don't have to use these examples. You can make up your own version and make sure it's polite and formal. Please contact me if you have any further queries. If you require further clarification, please feel free to contact me. Should you require any further information, please do not hesitate to contact me. The second and final part is basically signing off. So you would say yours sincerely, followed by your name, title, and address. Or you can use yours faithfully if the case notes do not provide you with the addressee's name. Now we return back to the middle. The OET website refers to this section as the purpose and purpose expanded, and it's the only part that really needs to be thought out. Since it requires some planning, you really should be doing this in the 5 minutes reading time. But if you have a strategy to plan and write out this section, the writing subtest will be the easiest subtest for you to get a perfect A grade. If you want to learn more about how to write the middle, please join me on my masterclass for attacking the middle. It's the same exam day strategy that I use to write my letter, and will help you get a perfect A grade letter on your exam as well. So that's the introduction to OET and the writing subtest. If you have any further questions about the writing subtest or OET in general, please do not hesitate to contact me on email, Facebook, or Instagram. Thank you.